Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. It is Happy Taco Tuesday here at Season 3 Retribution. My name is Alan. I am joined in by the fellow co-owner Zodiac. I'm going to do a bit of multiple jobs here tonight, but we've got two big games coming out from Reno Skyline. They're going up against Generation ESS, and then later on tonight, Left Pocket Dog. But first, Zodiac, how are you doing tonight?
Bro, I'm great. I'm actually excited about these two. These two have been a good one because Generation ESX, I'm certain has been just on a tear. If I remember correctly,
Mhm.
because I have to input all these stats. I believe both of them are technically undefeated. I'm not sure, but we'll see it at the head to head. But I mean, I'm excited to see these two play.
Yeah, no, I definitely do agree. Generation ESS, I think last week was on stream for one of the multiple nights we've had so far here at the first week and a half of season three. Of course, Reno Skyline hasn't necessarily been able to showcase themselves on stream just yet, from my knowledge, but they are a team to watch. They've got a lot of support, they've got a lot to come in forth. But as we look towards both the Commander and the Ranger, of course, we saw Team Notorious. They kind of got a couple games in. Reno Skyline, of course, you see them right there. 2 wins out of two, full 12 points. Team Notorious momentarily in the lead in Commando. But looking at the other side, Ranger, Syntex, Arcus, as well as Temper, they're just, as of right now, cruising through the Ranger. But still with only two, for most teams, only two games played so far. Still a lot of siege to be played left here in season three before we finalize these spots. But that's what we're looking at right now in terms of the conference rankings. Now, of
Facts.
course, we've got to look at these teams, looking at the stats and comparing them both and seeing where both of these standing at. And Zodiac, walk us through what we're looking at so far.
So here's the best part about this is that both of these teams are undefeated and they're not really off by much. Literally a 3 round difference. I mean, they both have 100% win percentage. Their attack and defense are pretty much just right there with each other. With Genesis Generation ESS is sitting at what 58%, while they're sitting at 50% in Reno side. It's actually
Mhm.
really interesting. And then the plant side, I mean, they're at least getting their plants out. There's some that haven't been able to get off a plant yet, while these have actually been focused on it, and you do see it popping up. Just based upon all the rounds, though, they managed to get some in there, and that's always good.
Yeah, no, I definitely do agree. It really is just a margin of a handful of digits from both sides. Looking at it face value, though, you do have to give Generation ESS that slight advantage, like you had mentioned, that 3 round differential that puts them in the higher ranking. Of course, the attack win only just at about 8% difference. Defensively, they're both neck and neck, right around a 6% difference. The key point I want to maybe even point out is the plan percentage. As of right now, Generation ESS might be one of the highest percentage, or one of the team with the highest percentage of plant attempts and success rates.
Mhm.
But of course, a lot can change after tonight. Reno Skyline, from what I remember a lot from last season, they were a team that was always continuously moving forward. But put shifting focus for just momentarily to Generation ESS. Joju, the player to watch. He's been on an absolute tear for the most part. His kill per round is a little bit dodgy at a point 82, but the survivability, the fact he's able to survive for almost half of the matches they've played so far, only 12 deaths, 18 kills, 3 assists. That KDR is chef's kiss. But look at the most played map, Chalet, 1-0, 100 percentile, 100% win percentage. Attack, of course, is subjective at a 66.67. And the last match, as pointed out, 7-5 victory. I'm back and play day two.
Yeah, Team Extreme was actually a nice close match. That was actually a really good one. I was actually pleasantly surprised about it. Now, I mean, that being said, with Joju holding it down, I'm certain that we want to see the rest of them with
Mm-hmm.
A1X, Cryptic, Willie, Ethan, and of course Joju at the bottom. Now, ironically, Willie and Cryptic are pretty much right there with him though. They're not really that far off. Willie more or less than Cryptic just in regards to survivability across the board, but they're pretty much right there neck and neck when it comes to just how it looks. I mean, Willie 1.43 KDR. That's beautiful. 20 kills, 14 deaths. That's exactly what you want. both of them surviving almost halfway through their each round that they played. That's actually a really good thing to see. You don't want that, but it's like that almost across the board for the entire team. It looks like they all play together really well to where they're not dying so much. Where you see, a lower percentage or a higher, where it's just one person has this high percentage and everyone else is dying. No, they're all collectively working together, especially right around the kill mark too.
Yeah, no, I definitely do agree. And when you compare Generation ESS to the teams are playing last night, the supporting players, in my opinion, A1X and Ethan most likely for Generation, they are contributing to the team and their success in a manner that not many support players are able to do. And in this day and age, calling these players, full on support players is a bit harsh. Effectively, all five of these players are flex players if you want to put a name on them. But I think Joju, the reason why he is the player to watch is that survivability. The fact is he would just edge out the survivability in comparison to everyone else,
Mm-hmm.
which the lowest is only 38%, which is absolutely outrageous. The fact he's able to kind of showcase, and even though he's not the flash, he's not in your face all the time, like Willie, like Cryptic, he is there when it matters, and he's able to hold down any point, any vital choke for his team, whether it's attacking or defending. So I'm really interested to see how he kind of pushes on Cliptic and Willie to try and overtake him in a sense statistically.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Now, on the other side, we have Reno Skyline, who was just about with them in regards to everything else as well.
Mm-hmm.
Last match against Baller, 7-3. Now, Baller was one we didn't expect to see a 7-3 kind of flow. We really expected to see something a lot closer to that. Now, we hadn't seen it on stream, but in regards to just how they're playing, I did expect Baller to be a little bit closer. Seeing that their map, their most played map is Cafe, they have attack percentage 50%. For defense, it doesn't look like they're really holding their own on the defense with only a 20%. Um, but Calico is right there with Joju when you look at the difference in regards to the only difference really being the survivability. But 21
Mm-hmm.
kills, 14 deaths, 4 assists, KDR at 162 with a KPR of 1. So that really does tell you that yeah, he really is trying to stay up there with them and really going to be someone to watch in regards to the entirety of this match. I think Calico might really just take off on that one for sure.
Yeah, and I think even looking at and comparing just the team stats on its whole before we go into the roster stats, which I'm sure you'll be bringing up here shortly, is the fact of how close all these players are in comparison to Generation ES. When you're looking at the player to watch, the only real difference is Calico's got a better KPR. I believe even the slightly better KDR, but the survivability matches those of the lowest percentage in Generation ESS. At, like I pointed out, 38%. But it doesn't even matter. Both of these teams have got players who are able to bring in that depth. They're able to bring in, clutch moments when needed. That we can compare these stats all day. We can sit down and talk for hours on end, breaking both of these teams down. It's going to come down to such minute details and how their attacks might differ, or maybe the defensive holds might just be that more elaborate. That might tip the tide one way or another.
Agreed. Yeah. And speaking of how the team looks together, I mean, we're right there. Everyone's just about there. Lowest percentage, MCR has not played. He was sitting as a sub. And I don't believe actually MCR is the one playing today. I just don't have the information for the other player, which was Slasher. Now, that being said, when you look down at it, Calico does have some Robins with him as well in regards to it. You got HK and nice guy Jake. Both of them sitting there pretty close when it comes to KDR as well. As a matter of fact, the 143 was exactly the same as the backup to Joju, or the write up on in regards to KDR, the next best one.
Mhm.
So both of these being right there with each other, and then having the 1.25 from Nice Guy Jake with a good survivability behind him as well with 43%. 38, 33, with the lowest technically right now we're seeing as 29% for Portland. But I mean, they're right there with each other as well. Kills, deaths. It looks like all of them, especially with the deaths, it looks all of them are right there with each other. So if they're going to die, they're going to die on the hill together. So that's a good thing.
Yeah. No, I definitely do agree. And I think Nice Guy Jake, he's definitely going to be the one commanding the team alongside Porkins. Both of them are going to be shot calling back and forth, making sure that the rest of the walled old machine that is Reno Skyline is going to be performing at the level that they are expected to perform, especially if we want to take down a team like Generation ESS. And with that, looking at both of these teams, looking at the rosters, we then get a chance to look at the map band, Skyscraper, Consulate, Chalet, and Bank, all off the board pretty quickly. Clubhouse and Night falling through. And of course, as we ease into the final three maps, Lair, Border, off the board, and we're going to Cafe Dostoevsky, the home of Glass and Fuse, Tachanka and Kapkan as well. The Russian Hotel is going to be the battleground for both of these teams. I've got to say, Zodiac, I'm excited. I hope you're excited. I know Unnamed is excited. And I believe we've got all 10 players just awaiting their descent to Cafe.
Yeah, no, I believe so. We should be able to get this started. We'll see how it goes for them. Once we get the actual match going off, it's going to be just exactly what you want to see. You want to see two powerhouses just swinging at it. This is the I can't really get it out because I want to say a Tyson,
It's
but
it's
it's
almost
right
like
there.
it's like almost like you're seeing Alpha and the Omega finally battling it out. It might be a little early on to finally call Generation and Reno to battle the Alpha and the Omega of the respective region, the respective conference. But Cafe Dostoevsky, a map that I've not casted in such a long time, and we're finally getting things started. Operator bands following through. If you haven't watched Siege in the last 3 years, well, surprise, they've changed the operator. Banning phase, Grim, Castle, both off the board. I think for Reno, banning out that Castle, especially on the attack. Big operator to pick up. A Generation responded right back with that Grim. I've got to say, Zodiac, two big bands starting off rip.
Yeah, no, I mean, especially for this kind of map, the only thing that I'm actually willing to see is if the mirror gets banned. And if the mirror doesn't get banned, because she's very strong on this kind of hold, especially with the destructibility of everything going around. And there it goes right there. Those are the two that you really wanted off the board. Now you know for a fact whatever floor you're going on, you don't have to see that castle. You don't have to face up with that mirror. Now it's going to be just about how Reno is going to want to attack this. Looking at it, I understand the striker. I understand the Twitch. Twitch gets rid of their intel or their availability of what they have. Blackbeard is obviously just it's a scare presence. I'm coming for you, and I'm going to to hit you with the shield, and we're going to go at it right off the bat.
Yeah, no, I definitely do agree with the fact that both Ying and Grim are both off the board for at least for the hands of Reno's Skyline. That is a lot of throwable utility that is going to limit Reno's attempt to try and set tone and set pace to this attacking phase of theirs. But regardless, we're going to the top floor. Generation ESS bringing out the Mute, the Jaeger, Warden. You're bringing a lot of the nose, the hows, the wins. If you have been playing Siege for even 5 years, you know how you set up. You know how you got to extend it to piano. You got to extend to cigar lounge. New heaven, sort of say, making sure you got a stronghold on that side of the map where White Staircase and that hatch drop is going to be one of the biggest entry points for Reno Skyline. If you know how to hold it, which everybody with at least 5 years experience knows how to hold it pretty comfortably, it should be a very comfortable round for Generation ESS here in this first round. But Reno Skyline has got to lay the steals that you had mentioned. They're bringing out the striker. Twitch, they get swapped off. Capital now on the board. That's a lot of utility that they can also throw to the defenders if they want to kind of get them off these choke points with as minimal, pressure as possible.
Yeah, and the good change about it is even though they got rid of the Twitch, they still got the IQ. So you still will know the intel was there. Still will know how to handle what's being thrown at you or what's in front of you a little bit. I mean, it's one of the best things. Capital really does. It's a pushback. I can push you back. Along with the shield coming at you, if I push the fire behind you and the shield's coming at you, they're both coming. You're really stuck between the two. And it's going to be really interesting how we're going to go about it with, Ethan already taking out one, which was the Blackbeard. And that's exactly the one you didn't want taken out right off the bat. But we'll see.
Yeah, exactly, no, I definitely do. Yeah, no, I definitely do agree. The ground presence coming out from Generation ESS is definitely big. A1X getting a C4K on Calico, and Joju getting Porkins. And this is not the start that Reno Skyline wanted in this first round. How about might be possible Joju getting another one? C4 does protect the runouts, so it's all down to HK. The Capital already expended his smoke dart. Actually, he spent all of his darts with 90 seconds to go. A 1v4. Effectively, an ace will be requested, but an easy kill coming out as the real, well, you're not really looking so far towards that open window. A 3v1 situation. Generation has got complete control of sight. Diffuser is in the hands of Capital. 60 seconds left. Swings and peaks will be coming here shortly, and they know exactly where he's at. They're just waiting for the right sound cue to just simultaneously, as a unit, swing on through. They don't want to give any sort of leeway or any sort of free ground, any yardage for Reno Skyline to salvage effectively a thrown round.
Oh yeah, I mean, and the interesting part about it is this is something that a lot of teams struggle with: sitting still. Wait till you hear the reaction and then react. You hear that swing in, reacts. His mic drops down right here, and if he does, you do realize all three of them are going to set up and just collapse onto him. As you can see, they've already changed. They already know that he's moved around, and they're ready for him. This is exactly what you want. Now, to see how HK is going to handle it, it's just going to be unfortunate. But Valkyrie managed to take him out. That's exactly what you expected. They set up for you, and then the other two really let him take the one, and then we're going to play a 2v1, knowing that he had the plant, knowing that time wasn't in his favor. That's exactly what you want. I mean, they really knocked out the entire Reno team within the first minute and a half. That is not what you want to do on your first push. That is not where you want to go at all with the concept that you had in mind. Clearly, it looked like they were going for a window take, and unfortunately for them, it looks like they were ready for it because they completely countered it. It looks like GenerationESS has done their homework. We got to see how Reno's going to respond.
Yeah, no, I definitely do agree. And I think with how one-dimensional that cigar and windows, or non-cigar, but that dining room and white staircase take was, there was no presence coming from the basement side, coming into the double garage, trying to make the way through, clear out the library and dining room in that main floor side. It just, there was not much droning. It was just open real estate coming out from GenerationESS. They set themselves up. They were minimally contesting. By the time the contest was even coming out, it was already too far gone. Like you mentioned, 3 kills within 90 seconds. A C4 coming, flying through, I believe, a window. Another kill coming through the staircase onto the same window. And then Blackbeard, I'll be honest with you, I didn't even catch how he got outside by a player that's playing inside in the library. A lot of question marks needs to be coming out from Reno Skyline on how exactly did we let Generation do what they did. Hopefully in the second round they will respond appropriately, but it's going to take a lot. And
it looks like they are available. And it looks like they are. They brought the Dokkaebi, so wherever they didn't know where the operators was, that's what that Dokkaebi's for. Hey, you can't hide from me. Now, granted, the mute is also a good counter to that. You don't have time to turn it off, run into the mute jammer. It turns it off for you. And now you can really see how you do that. But you might be known for at least the first couple of seconds of it. They're going to try to utilize all this information, doing the top down. They already know, and Scopo's got out of there already. He already knows to get out of there, save himself the headache. Why fight the shield? Just make them waste the time, which they've already wasted a minute of their time. This is exactly what you want to see. Now, it took the chance for Scopo to be able to get right back behind them with them taking them out. So that's always a good thing. Now, already given the calls out, this is exactly what you want to see. They want to know where everyone is and try to push them as much as they can. With them already wasting about a minute and a half, though, this really isn't looking that good.
Death mark on the way.
Yeah, no, I definitely do agree. And they wasted a lot of time, trying to clear out this top floor. And, they're all 5 players effectively from GenerationESS are all back down to the site floor, which is, for all intents and purposes, the quote-unquote basement level of Cafe Joyce Chevesky. Ronan is coming in through, and the vertical work is being done, but we've got to keep an eye on the player on bottom red stairs. It's just itching for that moment to kind of creep up. But with those spike traps right there on the staircase, a lot of damage, a lot of noise as well will be made. It's effectively a, hey, bunker down, hunker it in. And of course, as I say that, HK getting the first kill onto Joju, a player that went absolutely into a double last round, but with 50 seconds left. A lot of pacing has to come through. Blackbeard eating up a lot of damage, and the Real finally knows how to do it, but now Sky Jake with an instant refrag with 35 seconds left. The time is definitely in the favor of defense, but Reno Skyline is just itching. Rooney unable to go upstairs. Flashbang coming in through from side cigar lounge. Pete coming through. Nice guy Jake is effectively on his own with the diffuser in hand. It's C4 once again by A1X. My guy, you know how to do it, but nice guy Jake gets one. Porky gets another, and it's all down to Willie. Warden, no C4 in hand, just a shield ram going forward to plant. And now he knows exactly what needs to be done. Finally creep in. No minimal sound, doesn't even matter. HK cleaning up the round. He began it, he ended it. A beautiful attacking phase from Reno Skyline.
Yeah, that's exactly what you wanted to do. That's what you wanted to see from Reno Skyline. Skyline adjusting right off the bat. Made sure that they pushed it in. They did waste a good amount of time, but when it's time for the execute, they were ready. They got everything they needed to do. They got all their ducks in a row, took them out exactly where you want them to be. You guys have done exactly what you would want to be seen by anyone that has to fight, duke it out. Especially on a map like Cafe, where time you can just lose track of time very quickly. Trying to clear every corner, trying to clear everything, it's just not going to be easy. So the way they pushed it at first, they did get their footing in. They got the first 2 stairs, but when it came for the execution, they locked in and pushed exactly how they wanted to push that.
I think one thing I would like to see from Reno Skyline with them going back upstairs as the beautiful replay coming out from you, which, by the way, hey, dude, more power to you being able to do multiple jobs.
Of course.
One thing I would like to see is Reno Skyline having a player at Hell Door. On the drone, that door doesn't even have to be broken through. In the possible attempt, if let's say they bring in an extra player going on the top floor row, instead of being able to kind of phase his way out, which the operator's not available, he goes to drop down from heaven to hell. Well, guess what, buddy? Welcome to hell. You got a guy playing on that door case. That could be one little change that can speed up this sort of roam clearance from Reno Skyline, but for Generation, I mean, they know what they're doing. They know that it was just minute mistakes that they made in those final 45, 50 seconds that really just gave the round to Reno.
Yeah, I mean, the beautiful part about Reno is Reno really did do exactly what they needed to do. I mean, seeing that they bring the Doki back and they're bringing another shield, I think they're committed to this kind of push. I think once we see when the third ban operators comes out, we'll see how that Generation ESS is going to respond to it. But I mean, it seems like this is what they're sticking to. They're going to push in, use the shield to get their pressure in, call out anything with the Dokkaebi calls, and just move forward from there. Take the space, push in. It's going to be a really good thing. Now, I don't know how well that's going to work for the top floor when you're not really worried about the roamers too much. So it's going to be interesting how they're going to adjust when it goes top floor versus kitchen.
Yeah, and as you mentioned that, the shotgun is creeping ever so closer to the blitz, but of course, the other roaming operator is going to try and draw some attention. Dokkaebi call is coming through, so maybe a possible sound cue from the bottom of red staircase as well as the bottom of white. A lot of action is coming thick and fast within the 90 seconds left into the round, but HK once again, another injury kill coming out from the big player. He's taking out Cryptic, but the real responding right back with a double kill of his own. Well, Porkins and Calico unable to clear out red staircase. Beautiful call from the real as he drops back and has really put Reno in a difficult situation. The flank ability from Generation is alive and well with the fact that those trap players are off the board. But with the vertical play coming through from Ram, it is definitely going to be a lot more difficult to try and feel that just adventurous. Dokkaebi, though, might be getting some of that intel if available. But with 50 seconds left, Generation is looking absolutely pretty. It really is just going to come down to their own mistakes once again before Reno don't take this round. But it is definitely possible as Blitz changing his entry point.
I mean, it looks like 2 of them are stacked up out there. Once they call out, which they know the mutant's there now, oh no. I would say it's going to be on for Uns and Blitz to make that push and then give the Ram the opportunity.
He's getting a double kill.
I mean, this is the one thing that it looks like that they just know how to adjust with each other. They're really going in and just really trying to get everything taken care of. Yeah, looking at this now, they're already prepped for it. They're not about to win this round. time runs
Yeah,
out.
really.
And I mean, he still had to overcome the other two operators and try to get the plant down if that was possible. Which at that time, you look at it, you may want to just say, sit back, hey guys, what's going wrong with this? Pull back for a second. Let's see how we're handling this round because it's not going in the way that we need it to.
No, I definitely do agree. I think if there was a little more time for for HK to kind of get that third kill, it was definitely still possible. But like you said, man, the position from Generation ESS throughout the entire defensive round, and the fact that we're able to get vital kills when needed, it really put them to a level in which it was unreachable, unattainable for Reno Skyline. I think the double kill coming out from Bakery onto both Nice Guy Jake and the Blitz, the double kill coming out from the Real, it really was just a matter of, hey, anything you can do, I can do better amongst teammates. HK,
Yeah.
valiant effort, but not enough. Now, the operator bands.
Attackers need to
Valkyrie
locate
and
and defuse
Capital.
the
Talk to me.
bombs.
How are we feeling after those first 4 rounds or 3 rounds?
Valkyrie Capital, it sounds about right. You're trying to get all the intel away from Reno. Well, sorry, away from Generation ESS, while also removing the push ability that Capital does give you, or the clear out ability. That clear out, now you can just handle on with the shields, and sometimes shields are a lot easier to handle if you can get aggressive. Blitz not being the right one, but that's why they're taking the Warden too. So they're trying to counter each one of them directly. And did for Generation ESS taking taking the opportunity to prep against them, the Valkyrie really wasn't as detrimental is going to be as detrimental to them as the Capital it looks like to be against Reno Skyline. Because it looks like they already had all the information going forward. I really didn't see a lot of Valkyrie pings or intel coming out that way. They've had all the information that they needed going forward.
Yeah, no, I definitely do agree. And one thing is, Torgan's bringing out the Twitch. It's a good pick in my opinion. The amount of utility and the amount of intel that Generation is still able to obtain, even with Valkyrie off the board, Mirror off the board, bringing out a Twitch could be a good idea. Now the line can change as well as Bravo. Interesting.
Bravo.
So it's gonna be a different style of a push for Generation ESS. They're now shifting their focus towards cigar and piano, which for them, for all intents and purposes, is the most standard way to attack this top floor site. Now, for Generation ESS, that means, hey, let's extend down to the basement floor, try and see if we can try and creep our way up through the bottom red, through train, through museum, and kind of wait for Reno Skyline to lower their guard for just that small moment and pounce. It is a possibility that it's still there with the fact that you still got bulletproof cameras, you still got players playing in Whitehall, players playing in Freezer. There is still a possibility for Generation ESS to pull off a flank without Mirror, without the typical piano hold. But with the line making first contact, it is definitely still a possibility. Shotgun in hand, though, from A1X, waiting to see if we could get another C4 masterclass, but he's down for the count. A great down coming out from the line, and this could be the opportunity Reno is needing. Focus will need to be shifted for Nemute to be picked up once again, but with 20 HP is not looking pretty. 60 seconds left. All 5 players all for the intended purpose are up. Calico, beautiful kill. And the Real waiting for the pixel angle. Misses the shot at HK. Giving a freebie. Cryptic beating up a lot of damage. A1X finally off the board. There's a player in Deep Freeze. There's a player in Cigar. This is now looking good for Generation ESS. Cryptic, though, does get one back. 40 seconds left. The defense still has a stake, still has a claim to make. But with the player on Repel, he's effectively cut off the Deep Freeze player Willie off the board. It's all down to Jaeger. He's down to 20 HP. He knows the player on window. He knows he gets surrounded, and Nice Guy Jake cleans up the round for Reno Skyline. A great way to pounce back after round 2.
Yeah, no, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that Valkyrie was a lot more information than we expected. The way that they handed that one to them, that was exactly a true response to them. They're saying, hey, although you may have got that first one where it was 3v1 at the end, you're going to handle this 4v1 at the end. This is exactly what you want to see between two teams. It's a back and forth. It's a back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, nonstop. They're really going at each other in regards to just trying to show who's going to get the one up. I love it. It's beautiful. This is the way that Reno decided to push that, taking the Twitch and the Bravo is pretty much telling you right off the bat, we're taking away all information, all intel, all information. We're going to either destroy it or take it over. And this is exactly what you want, especially with the Valkyrie not being, available to them.
Mm-hmm. Now, in the words of Bianca, they have now gone to the tertiary site. Even I can't pronounce that word.
Tertiary. There we go. Tertiary site.
The third site, the off site. Now, of course, with Cafe, the off site can be interchangeable. Mostly because dining room is the connecting site for both dining room and library and dining room and museum. So it really just comes down to the team's preference. The GenerationESS has opted to go with the dining room library. My personal favorite, and I know it's your personal favorite as well. Operator selection. Very understandable, very reasonable, and in some cases, expected. You got some roam game, you got an extension going top floor, you got the horizontal coverage. It really is about as basic as it gets when it comes to this setup for GenerationESS. But you don't see that Twitch drone taking all your intel. It can be very detrimental when the execution is going to come out from Reno Skyline. And I'm wondering though, is there a possibility of a hell rush?
I don't think so. Just because once they saw the Renegade there, it really does slow you down. You have to use some type of utility. It gives so much intel just hearing the gate go off that people can the teams will definitely respond. Now, here's the interesting part that I like how they're utilizing the Twitch and the Bravo. Bravo's not trying to take any of the actual cameras or intel like that. They say destroy all the intel. Everything else we're taking. The Renegade is ours. Look, right there, they tried to take the mute jammer. Unfortunately, it got caught. But they're trying to take away any and all ability for them to hide behind something and use it against them. And that's exactly what you want to see. I mean, I love how they're doing it. They have the idea to take all the intel and then throw a ram there to get all destructibility out the way. So I'm liking how they're diagnosing this one. They're really putting it together to say, hey, we're going to take away all we can and just push you back into a corner.
Yeah, no, I definitely do agree with this. And Cryptic creeping up the red staircase doesn't know to play the middle platform. No! Nice guy, Jay. A guy that I used to play back eons ago when I was a young lad, and he was great college. Beautiful way to kind of scope out and wait for that flank. Perkazos, Claymore taking out one, but A1X gets one. Porkins getting the instant refrag. Nice guy, Jay, getting a double for himself. And it's just falling faster and faster. Joju cleans up Calical, but it doesn't even matter. He's up against a Blackbeard. You can't really do much against a new Blackbeard. He doesn't have just a face shield. It is a walking English tank, and it doesn't even matter. They have surrounded. They put him into a top bathroom. He left them alone in an island and said, hey, peekaboo.
Honestly, in that regard, this is the time where I think you have to be a little aggressive against the Blackbeard. If it's a blitz, I get it. You really want to keep your distance. But when it comes to Blackbeard, a lot of times if you push up and start attacking his shield, he has to now respond on the defensive. He has to turn his body. He has to do a lot. That may have been the opportunity for him to do that. Now, granted, that may not always be the case. There might not be the times where you do it. He's not sure where the other two operators were. So that also makes sense. It's something that you really want to, especially when it comes to a Blackbeard, you do want to consider if you have to just take the fight with him. Oh no!
Attackers need to locate and defuse.
No, I definitely do agree. I think with the way the reworked Blackbeard, this rework, and I know you might agree with me to an extent. This rework has not only brought Blackbeard back into the face front of this meta, but it has really revitalized the way teams opt to utilize shield operators. When you bring Blitz still brings a lot of worth. Montaigne brings a lot of worth. Even a fused shield brings a lot of worth and a lot of value into the team. But when you got a Blackbeard, that you got the shield, you've got the AR, you've got, I believe, flashbangs or stuns, maybe even grenades.
Wow.
Is it really a no-brainer, or is it still, hey, at moments we would still rather have Blitz in place of that Blackbeard?
I think we might see a rush here. I don't know if you saw it, but the full team, except for Ace, changed their operator. They completely changed the setup on how they wanted to handle this. I think that they know they're up top, and I think they might just go ahead.
Oh.
Yeah, I think we might see a rush here. They're already cut from the outside.
Oh, Baker bypass. I like it. And here we go. The blitz, the German train, the yellow submarine might be the first contact onto Joju shotgun. Cryptic eating up a lot of flashbangs, hoping and praying that the Ella concussion mines might do the trick. The real though does get a down from the head holes right through Bakery. And this is the possible rush you were talking about, the rapid and it's sort of anxious setup coming out from the players above. HK though does take out Joju. That's another player off the board. Another one falls. Morgan gets one.
Oh, no.
HK collapses, and GenerationESS has no response to this rush. It's all down to A1X as the real is down for the count. He's dead. It doesn't even matter. A flawless round coming from Reno. What a read.
That is exactly what I saw. Once I saw that change and I saw the lineup, I was like, oh, they're going for this one. They're not about to waste no time at all for this one. They really wanted to take that one straight to them. And I mean, it really shows. They really did not waste no time. They went in. And the biggest giveaway was the reward. Once I saw that, they block off the small bakery, they push in with everyone else, and now you just have to take that straight on. And there was no one that was sitting back and waiting for them in the big bakery. They are just giving it pretty much free real estate. All they have to do is just push up, which they did. And you started seeing that now they had to collapse back down to come back to try to take the fight. But by that time, it was way too late. They had already pushed it.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking for a possible coach to bring out from retirement, may I introduce you to Zodiac, who
Oh my God, no, I'm not going back to
even years later, even years later, he's like, hey, look at this. This is happening right now.
I mean,
But-
wow. It's a good read. I don't know who IGL is. I believe it's Calico. It was a great read from them to make that adjustment to say, hey, it looks like they're not available for this. Let's push this. Let's go. Let's go ahead and make sure we take this going straight forward.
Defenders, protect your bomb.
It was something that you could see. I don't know what he saw that gave them the information. Maybe it was just Big Bakery not being played, but they really set up.
You know what?
That being said, what was it? Let me know.
And phenomenal work coming out from my name, as always. Is when we're looking at the prep race towards the ending of it, right as you were calling that, hey, look, everyone's just swapped their operators, which I didn't even catch that. I was just focused on the fact that how much of an extension or how much commitment they were going on this row. They had two players above. You had the player at bottom red. Not even inside of small bakery to be able to even directly, contest. The minimal weaponry on site and just the way that they were set up, it invited that sort of rush. If you want to, sit down, deeply analyze that round and the setup from GenerationESS across the 3 attempts they did down in Bakery, you can kind of see that it does welcome a level of aggressiveness that Reno finally decided to take. And it was a gamble that, as you can tell, paid off in dividends. Now, of course,
it didn't take long.
no, not at all.
I'm looking into it now. For this round, though, I really want to see how aggressive GenerationESS is going to have to take their attack. It's going to be warranted at this point. Looking at how Reno has their setup, they're just putting obstacles in front of you.
Ooh.
So let's see how they're going to operate.
Yeah. No, I definitely do agree with HK being as low as he is. The support coming out from Slasher is going to be absolutely vital. Now, of course, there was a drone coming out from bottom red. So keep an eye on Cryptic as the round progresses, just waiting for his moment to kind of pounce. If he's able to sneak up through red with minimal to no noise, this Goyo could be absolutely taken out. And Willie, though, eating up a lot of damage. Capital putting in the work that he needs to put in. Blitz on the rappel. That's something you don't necessarily see all day. But, hey, it's 2025. You see things that may not be believable as Blitz just waltzes his way in through top bathroom. This could be absolutely big. Drone does get shut out. Hitting 5-1. 5-0 Rooney. But no! HK say, hello! It's me from Freezer. What a way to deny that possible surprise pounce. And I've got to say, Willie, you're rappel. Reload. You could have easily saved the blitz if you just peeked out for just that one moment. Either way, though, Joju off the board. But Ash, like I had pointed, Cryptic sneaking his way through red staircase, takes out one. Wait, the site's downstairs. This is a lot of an extension, and only 2 players remain for Reno effectively on the side. Cryptic gets another one. There goes Calico off the board. Cryptido eating up a lot of damage from above, I believe. No, he's doing
Smoke doesn't even
Smoke
know.
holding it down, but no! There goes one. Willido, instant refract. 35 seconds left. The plan is going to be coming in through Hell Door. A1 getting another one for Porkins. The Goyle canister reigning supreme is all down to one. No! Willie holding it off, waiting for the right moment, takes out the grip, but said hello. Mew was already down, effectively just a bullet he's gone. And what a response from Generation after getting rushed. They said, hey, let's break you down. Let's beat you down. Let's make you work for this round. And then ultimately taking a beautiful round, beautiful attack from Generation.
I think the best decision that they used in regards to that is once Reno didn't take that top floor, I think they really, or start with the top floor. Once you're up 2 rounds, you have the ability to make it the way you can play it the way you want to.
Defenders,
You could have
protect
easily
your bombs from
pulled
being
back and
defused
say,
by
hey, no, we're going to
attackers.
play them on the 3rd floor, make them have to work for every little round that they have. But no,
Bomb located by
that's not the case that they did there. They wanted to get a little too aggressive. And, I mean, don't get me wrong. It looks like GenerationESS, although the round was very, very close, really did take that opportunity to say, you know what? We have to take this round. If we don't, we're down 2-5. That's not a spot that you want to be. Let's try to get it closer, 3-4. And they did exactly that.
Yeah, and I think one thing is that it also kind of threw me off. That whole round, I thought the setup
10
was the top
seconds to
floor.
insertion.
You know, I'm not gonna lie. I was not paying attention as well either. I really thought it was up top.
The way that Reno set up, I was convinced it was top floor. And I was like, oh, Bliss is just walking in through the bathroom. Not a care in the world. No one's really paying attention from Reno. And then we pan into, I think it was a Cryptic, and takes out the Goyo. Waltz through museum and train, and he's inside suddenly. Now, oh, hello. We're actually in the offside. Either way, Reno opting to go back down to Bakery. Generation, of course, they're going to be doing the systematic that everyone knows and loves. Top down, clear. You drone from patch, you drone from heaven, you drone from anywhere you want to drone. Yeah, you can even drone from the comfort of your own airplane seat, which I'll be taking in 2 weeks to clear out top floor. You want to do with the pace. You want to make sure that you leave yourself enough time to set up for the vertical play and then eventually set yourself up for success when it comes to the execution. 60 seconds already burnt off, and they really haven't made too much progress in that second floor. And ooh, possible misdrone might be coming out here in the next few seconds, as it seems like, yep, Legion undetected, but doesn't even matter. Cryptic getting the first kill onto the board, but there is still a second player in hand. Valkyrie on the hands of Porkins. Also opting now drop down. It is a full clearance coming out. Beautiful work coming out from Generation with still a little over 90 seconds to go in the round.
Yeah, I mean, you know, here's the interesting thing. If we remember, we go back to where we were looking at the team stats. This is Reno Skyline's, I believe, original map, or was it GenerationESS's? But it was definitely Reno. Reno has played on here before, and their defense was just not there. It was at a 20%. So I wonder if we're going to see that coming. If that's going to start taking its ugly head on this one, because I mean, after that last one, although they didn't lose it by a whole lot, it didn't matter.
Yeah, no, I definitely do agree with the 60 seconds to go still in favor of GenerationESS in terms of man count, and as I say, the Caster's Curse, you know. HK getting one kill, but Joju getting one right back with the slasher, but he gets instantly down by HK. HK needs to know that there's another player in hand, but A1 there for support coming down from Brown Staircase. 40 seconds left. It's all down to Porkins and Nice Guy Jake. And of course, Nice Guy Jake, phenomenal player on the SMG-11. He's going to have to come out big with that utility. He still has 3 canisters in hand. And with 30 seconds left to go, he can effectively kill off any sort of plant attempt or even push into sight if he times the canister up. No! Porkins caught lacking. The reel off the board, but Nice Guy Jake, what a headshot. Smoke canister comes out, doesn't land. Plant going down, 2v1, doesn't matter. Willie! Hello! The Chocolate Factory came knocking, takes out Nice Guy Jake. Safe Farmer's not on your side. Another round coming from GenerationESS, and it's 4-4.
Yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to Reno, which taking the timeout is probably the smartest thing to do. What I'm seeing for Reno is too aggressive for their own good sometimes. I think they need to just understand that they need to slow it down, relax, don't push things when you don't need to or unnecessarily. I understand that you want to put presence there, but presence versus dying is not what you want. You want them to have to consider it while you get away. Wasting the time is going to be exactly what we want to see. When Generation was on defense, they really made Reno have to use a lot of their time to clear out. Whereas it doesn't seem to be the same thing when it comes to Generation ESS. They're getting in that building and they're going in pretty fast.
Let me just point out something. HK is 15-4.
HK.
The next closest player, I believe, was 8. The opposing team's highest kill count was 6, from what I saw. HK is going absolutely insane tonight. Like, we still gotta remember, Reno Skyline has another game after this.
Mm-hmm.
We get to bring to you live here on AEL Network.
Attackers need to locate
HK, I don't know if he's burning himself out or he's just, is he that guy? Are we seeing the second coming to Chico?
Maybe. I believe we do have an opportunity there. I mean, HK is really deciding to say, you know what, I'm going to go in and I'm just going to take hits. I mean, it's not just 15 kills, but he also has 4 deaths out of it.
Attackers have discovered the location of
He's
a bomb.
really being efficient on how he does it. It's I mean, one more kill, he's pretty much effectively at a 4. ADR.
What's the most kill in a single map in competitive Siege again?
Oh, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you.
Before insertion.
Maybe it's me. 23 kills.
Attackers are heading out.
I know it wasn't a famous unlimited coastline back in 2000 and, was it 19 or no 2018?
Listen, man, the people call me Unc now. I'm too old to remember some of this stuff. I have a cane here, man. You know how it is. Oh my goodness.
You need a heart defibrillator too, but you know.
Oh
hey.
my god. Okay.
Neither here or there. We're neither here or there. Round number 9 on the board. GenerationESS starting in the second half, down 2-4, brought it right back with 2 big rounds. Last round a little more exciting, a little more adventurous, a little more my liking. But we're here now, back into the treachery site, the opposing treachery site. Museum and dining room down on the first floor. Men down into the count, still all 5 players, and for a second I thought it was a Caviar. I really thought it was a Caviar because like there's no way we're gonna get another interrogation live. Unfortunately, it's not possible, at least for this round.
I mean, we definitely would not have been afraid of it, but that is a beautiful shot from Reno, taking out 2. Who was it? The Ash and the
Flores.
Oh, Flores. Thank you. I almost said my show, and I knew I was wrong. But the Ace and the Flores actually is pretty decent good in here, especially depending on how many. Oh my goodness, Porkins is just taking them out along with Slasher.
You know, the attempt was, hey, let's take out the most effective guy in Reno, and we should be able to win this. Completely forgot that Porkins now in double digits too. So you're gonna have to do a little bit more work if you want to take out the 2 most effective players of Reno Skyline. It's all down to Willie. Oh, Grim, looking a little grim for you. Player top white staircase, denying his sort of push over through Whitehall. Getting a little cautious, getting a little paranoid like a certain Canadian rapper. But with 50 seconds left, it's still possible in a 1v4 situation. HP is in favor if he is able to play it out and able to take out these one-on-one situations. Now, of course, having to utilize a lot of his utility to clear out these Aruna gates is not the most ideal situation. Looks down towards the floor, says hello, Calico's here. Takes him out. Reno Skyline, a beautiful response after a timeout, which we don't see too many of those these days. 5-4, back in favor of Reno.
Yeah. I mean, Reno definitely decided to take that opportunity with their timeout to really get the information that they needed to. On this round, it looks like they really calmed down a bit, too. They let themselves take control of the situation. They didn't waste no time. They instantly started getting their kills and instantly started falling back. They really didn't waste any opportunity to put Generation ESS in a spiral.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, there we go.
Valkyrie Grim, the next following operators to come banned out. So that's the official end, for the most part, of the operator ban phase here in Siege X. I like that.
Attackers need to locate and
I've been
defuse
meaning to catch your
bombs.
opinion, recorded, so I can post it online later, about your, your outlook on the new operator ban phase as prep phase commences here on the, what is it, 10th round? Yeah, 10th round.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on the new ban?
I love it.
New operator
I
ban
love the
phase?
new ban phase. I love everything about it because it really makes your team have to commit. I mean, how you set up your strategy can really be determined on what the two bans that goes out right away. You know, you can say, hey, I'm going to block off your ability to get any walls or a traditional way with the ace and the thermite, for instance. And now you have to come at us with can openers and maybe mono or nav. And you got to be good at map tricking. So you can really start playing against teams' weaknesses and strengths on it. And I love how they actually went about making the setup of it. It works really well depending on how the team plays.
Right. The only real knock I guess I have when it comes to this operator phase is how reactionary things tends to be as well. Cryptic unable to react against Porkins. That's another early death coming out from the Ash, 5 and 9 across 10 rounds.
Oh,
and
no.
For a player like Cryptic, who when looking at the statistics from both of these teams, he was one of the most active players for GenerationESS. I believe he was the one with 21 kills after two play days. So
Mine active.
a big kill coming out from Reno. Repel coming out from the Blitz as well, the Blitz. Gridlock creeping her way through Red Staircase, although the site, let's just, for all intents and purposes, is in the main floor. For Reno Skyline, GenerationESS is committing a lot to this top floor clearance, but with not enough time. 90 seconds is only around the horizon, and with the man down, it's not necessarily looking too pretty. Reno is pretty much hunkered down. You don't necessarily have to get aggressive. That tactical timeout was chef's kiss coming out from Reno Skyline. They're able to slow things down. They killed the momentum the GenerationESS had built up across 2 rounds, and it's really starting to stumble. Reno Skyline waiting for that right moment. They know that possible player is looking towards the floor holes. Ooh. The hatch play almost paying dividends, and now he's all by himself. All by himself. HK eating up a lot of damage, but Porkins!
He got away.
He's there to help. What a shot onto Joju. Giving the clears up to HK to run away with 60 seconds left. A 5v3 situation coming in favor of Reno Skyline. GenerationESS is not looking good. The waiting game is no longer a viable game, Willie. You've got to start getting aggressive. Snowcats coming out. Blitz is not having a head peek. Doesn't matter. Porkins with the triple. Can he get 2? Can he get the ace? Blitz waiting. A1. 5 is 1. The flash against the other. Ace is not available. It's all down to A1. The Thermite's all by himself. 8K down for the count. So it's a 1v3. Thermite can definitely do it. Ripping his way through Museum. Waiting for that opportune moment to pounce on another defensive player. But the revive is being stuck through, potentially. For HK to come back up. But I think he's just going to kind of play the waiting game. They're going to wait it out. They're going to use him as bait. Doesn't matter. Kalika cleaning up another big round in Reno Skyline. Ladies and gentlemen, match 1, map 1, Cafe Dostoevsky is now on point. GenerationESS, you've got to play 2 rounds perfectly to force overtime. Reno, you got a 2-round cushion. Can you seal it out now, though?
I mean, if anything, GenerationESS, because of how this point system is in AEL, would want to push it just so they can get the points if they do end up losing. Mm-hmm. And can, even if they do end up losing, can start hindering how Reno Skyline makes their points as well. So it really will come into play for you to just really be, just to help yourself in that regard. Now, GenerationESS, I think they're at that point now where they're just kind of going in and really you're trying to focus up on aggression. And I mean, Reno is waiting for it. They're using every opportunity for the aggression. If you look at even last round with the operators, they had the Legion as well. They had the smoke last time. They had a Fenrir as well. So they're putting in obstacles to slow you down. You want to get aggressive. If you start making that mistake, start getting antsy, you just walk yourself into a kill. I mean, even seeing the clash, this is going to be interesting how they're going to play it. I don't know if
Attackers have located a bomb.
how Generation is
Yeah,
going to do it. I saw
they
I saw that
effectively
they
got
switched to it,
5 trap operators.
and I mean, I'm certain Reno is committed to that. It looks like that GenerationESS is trying to figure out how to counter them, and I'm not sure if they're prepared for the clash yet. I don't know if they even know the clash is there. I mean, and so we'll have to see how this is going to play out.
Surely not.
Evidence.
Surely not in 2025. We're not about to see a potential Clash run out. Frost hops out, trying to get some attention from Clash. Clash also doesn't hit the mark, but the aggression is there from Reno Skyline. They're feeling comfortable, they're feeling confident, they're feeling as they should, honestly. Generation ESS are in a bit of a situation they don't necessarily find themselves in normally. They've been playing well across the first 2 games, and now have potentially met their match and potentially a playoff two teams that are potentially playoff contenders are duking it out for the first time, but may not be the last time we see them together. Of course, still a lot of siege to play here in season 3. Clash meeting another force to be reckoned. The French
Oh no!
shield, but HK, what a way to make yourself known. He's on to 16 kills onto the game. Calico gets another one, and it is just bodies upon bodies upon bodies hitting the floor, and it's feeling a little disturbing. It's all down to Willie, Real, and A1X to maybe bring some hope, but hey, the Heartbreak Kid getting another one. Willie Wonka off the board, and it's only down to 2. Real, A1. Can they make something out of nothing? If you're only down to effectively 1 gun, Montaigne running around, 2 pillar, base checking.
Oh no!
Mike comes off. Calico, double for his trouble, and it's all down to the ace. The AK-12, a phenomenal gun, has gone through a lot of changes. It's a little more difficult to control. Can he get an ace, though? Can he get an ace to keep his team alive? Their dreams alive, the potential of staying undefeated alive. Might not be possible. Clash being identified. It's all down to the Clash. Can he get the shield operate off the board? No, it doesn't matter. Brings the support. A1X cleans one up. Flash chasing. But Ace getting the diffuser. So it is definitely still possible. It's doable. It's not improbable, but it's not possible. Hey, possibilities die at round number 11 as Reno Skyline getting the cleanup by Calico at the end. A beautiful game coming out from Reno Skyline. 7-4 is your scoreline here for match number 1 on Cafe HK. I've got to say, I believe, 16-5, 16-6. It doesn't even matter. He went 17.
Did they say 17? Oh my lord.
17-5. Porkins 13-5. Right behind them, Reno Skyline. It looked like a 2-man team, but I've got to say, Zodiac, it was a well-oiled machine going up against a generational team, but just could not keep up.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't. I don't understand. They had an opportunity of a lifetime to really just. I think they got uncomfortable with the push that they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way that when it came down to the attacking side of things, I think they saw the aggression that they used against them and wanted to prove that they can do it back. And I think that's exactly what Reno was doing. They were waiting for that. I don't think that there was an opportunity of a lifetime for them to not. I think if they would have slowed down, they would have started seeing that, oh, they're bringing trap operators. Let's counter that. They're not countering it. They're just trying to say, we're going to push. We're going to give you the aggression. And I wasn't sure if that was even worth the headache in regards to that. I mean, it was really unnecessary for them how they pushed those last 3 rounds.
No, I definitely do agree. And as we look at the stats across both of these teams, I mean, it's no brainer. A 1.81 rating coming out from HK. Porkins right behind him with a 1.6. Nice guy with a 1.13. So as you can tell, those were the 3 guys that were really influencing this team. The cost from Porkins at 100. That's unheard of, but actually not even potential at this point. It might effectively be the lowest headshot percentage I've ever seen in AEL so far across 3 seasons. So Porkins, I'm gonna message you and ask you why you only have a less than 8% headshot. But hey, and it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, he got 13 kills. He was effective. The entry 2-0, right behind HK, who was 5-0 in entry. HK undoubtedly is the player to watch for Reno Skyline. But when we look over towards Generation, A1X slow game. Joju, slow game. Willy Wonka, you might want to go back to the chocolate factory and maybe make some more chocolate bars because 3 and 8 that cost not looking too pretty. The rating not looking too pretty. You might want to take the real with them. Maybe you guys can conjure up a chocolate bar that can help y'all. But at the end of the day, it was entertaining. It was an effective. It was one of my favorite games that I've seen so far in the last, I'd say, 3 years of esports, just because of how close it got, how much of a competitive fight Generation brought in those first two rounds of the second half. They brought it back to 4-4, but that timeout from Reno Skyline and just the way they responded afterwards, oh man, as a former coach, I know you must be loving that response.
The response is exactly what you want from your team, no matter what, because you can tell that they stopped, they looked at what was happening, and they made all the correct adjustments. I think what really started happening to them was once they were on their attack, when Reno was on their attack, you really started seeing towards the end of it. At the beginning, it was back and forth, and then Reno just took the 3
Mm-hmm.
before the half, and it's like that's just because they sat down and looked at the entirety of the situation. They didn't stop. They didn't, they looked at what exactly are they doing and how are they playing. They're playing aggressive. I wonder if their attack play style is the same way. And we saw that they adjusted because right after that, once the half happened, Generation ESS took the 2 first rounds, and then right back, Reno came with the next 3. They really
Yeah.
started seeing that, hey, we understand what you're doing and we know how to counter you. And we're going to
Yep.
do that, just that. And I think I think where it comes down to it, when as a coach for Reno, yes, that's exactly what you want to see. Generation
Mm-hmm.
ESX, I think they need to slow down and start looking at what's going on around them because they didn't really counter. Even the rush round from Reno was the telltale sign for me that they're looking at exactly how they're setting up. They're looking at everything. They're getting all the intel. I believe Calico, if I'm correct, I believe it's either Calico or Porkins that may be the IGL. But I mean, whoever stopped and saw it really, really did take the opportunity to say, hey, look how they're playing. Look how they're doing this. Let's walk them into our side. Generation ESS. You got to slow yourself down. If you look at the stats for a second, their survivability is just not there. They really didn't survive any of the rounds in regards to that. They really just set themselves up for failure all the way
Mm-hmm.
through.
Yeah, no, I definitely do agree. And one of those things, one of the statistics we were kind of pointing out and built up to this game was the survivability of both of these teams. Generation ESS on paper were just that much better than Reno. They were a little more comfortable. They had a better KPR. They had a better survivability. Their average team rating was better. Everything was showing that Generation ESS had that it factor to just. I think the scoreline it was going to be similar to what we're seeing, 7-4, 7-5. But looking at the numbers don't typically lie. And Generation ESS was, statistically the slightly better team. And like you have pointed out, no one was able to survive. The Real had a 0. How do you not survive a single round? I'm not like look. I'm not gonna get into it. I'm not gonna
You
get
know how
into
I
it.
am about you guys.
We're not gonna get it. We're not gonna get into it too deeply. But the Real, this is one of those games you want to put it in the trash bag, take it to the dump on the other side of the country, and let them take it to the other side of the world, and let that flow through a river or two before it reaches a native tribe that will look at that and be like, you know what, we're just gonna burn it because we don't necessarily care for it. And that's one of those games that for Generation ESS, it's a game to forget. There's a lot of positives. There's a lot to take from. And both you and myself, we are fans of taking of we're more accepting of a loss than we are of a win just because of how much you can learn. And I think this is one of those games that Generation ESS can learn. Reno Skyline, on
Yeah,
the other hand, I mean, they won.
Generation Generation ESS, definitely go to the drawing board. This is a good VOD for you to sit down and see what went wrong. It's going to be up to them to take it back. I mean, they're only 2-1 at this point. Reno's now 3-0, but they have another game, and that's
Yeah.
the one we're going to be waiting to see against Left Pocket. I mean,
Yeah.
for that moment, I mean, we can just sit down. Everyone takes the chance for them to wind down, get ready for their next match. While Generation NSX, take the time, look at your film, watch your VOD back, and look and see where you went wrong to take you to that next level. Because y'all have the ability. You didn't go 2-0 for no reason. Get there, learn the possibility of what went wrong, and you'll be good to go.
Yeah, no, I definitely do agree. But that will do it, at least for us, for now. We have another game that you brought up, or that you had already brought up. Reno Skyline going up against Left Pocket Dog right after a short little break. 7-4 was the final scoreline here in Cafe. Generation ESS, Reno Skyline, 2 potential playoff contenders. Maybe even going for the whole prize. We don't know. A lot of sieges left to play. But let's take this little break, and we'll be right back. Well, we're back with the AEL play date. Instead of Kylo, who unfortunately couldn't keep up with the energies of the stream anymore. Jenna, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. You sounded like a robot for about the first 5-6 seconds there, and I was getting scared. Thought we were in the Matrix for a second, but you're back now, so I'm happy about that. I'm a little bit sick today, so the energy is running low. I think you're a little bit sick too here, so we're we're trying to survive. We're trying to keep up the energy as much as we possibly can. I'm excited. This is a doubleheader for Reno Skyline. They had an amazing game first round. They had Cafe. It was against GenerationESS. I watched the whole thing through. Insane game. It was back and forth on those first 6 rounds, and then they kind of got the edge when they were on their defenses, which is what I sort of expected from them, especially because Cafe does tend to be defense-sided map. Mm-hmm. But all in all, I do have to give a hand to Reno Skyline. They did very well with the adaptation. You can see my cat's tail waving around right here. But yeah, I mean, I really like how they played it, and I'm excited to see more from them. One thing I do want to see a little bit better is pacing with their attack rounds. just a little bit better. Sorry, I have to hold her. But
no, that's all good.
Yeah, I do want to see a little bit better pacing with their attack rounds. I think they had a very methodical way that they did play out their attack rounds, which I do appreciate. I love that they had a utility-based approach to things, where they picked the Brava, they had the Twitch that they played a few rounds as well. I really love that. I love that adaptation that they had, but also, like, it did take them a little bit long to wind up. So for this match, I'm hoping that they're going to get a little bit quicker. We know the maps, the audience doesn't, but I do have to say, slight spoiler, it will play in to the fact that this map will be played, that they don't have to, their pacing doesn't have to be as a big of an issue, as a big of a problem to solve, I should say.
Yeah. No, I think the pacing should come a little more naturally, but before we get into the map bans, we do need to point things out. Reno Skyline, of course, we know and love them. Of course, stats a little outdated. They're 3-0. Their round differential, I believe, is now up to a +2 or +3, and the win streak is at a 3. Win percentage still the same, remains the same. Their defensive win has gone up, as well as their attacking win. Now, of course, looking on the other side, left pocket, another undefeated team in the same conference. Look at the defensive win percentage, 83%. They're attacking, 67%. This team is absolutely clinical. A +8 round differential, second in the conference. Left pocket dog is up for the challenge. Is Reno Skyline going to be able to kind of keep up against them? Like you had mentioned, they had just played Cafe. It was 11 rounds, 7-4. They had to kind of fight for a couple of these rounds. It's going to be interesting to see if Reno Skyline can kind of keep up the momentum. Calico played really well last game, but I really got to say, with the way that both Porkins alongside HK, they are the players to watch. We already know what their recent map was played because we just watched the recent map. They won a 7-4. They beat someone. Generation. Sorry.
They beat GenerationESS.
I mean, what more can we say about Reno?
I agree. Yeah, what more can we say about Reno? They had a great game. They're off the heels of a great game, and hopefully they keep up the momentum.
Yeah, no, I definitely do agree. And as we pan over to look at the Reno Skyline roster, we already know them. We already love them. And we're already starting to fall in love with them. Pause. We got Porkins, Calico, HK, Jake, and, of course, Slasher.
Are we having a little bit of difficulties with the stream?
No, it's all good. You know, we break down Reno Skyline. We broke them down as well as we did, both myself and Kylo. Jenna, I know you probably may have a couple more things you might want to say about Reno Skyline that hasn't been said already. But, you know, looking into the matchup they got up next, given how much energy they've already had to use But prior to going up against left pocket, is there any sort of concern you might have for Reno Skyline? As hey, there's the roster.
Definitely. I mean, I will have a whole lot more to talk about once we get to the map pick for sure. But I do have to say about the map pick, this is not Reno Skyline's map pick, which means that they do have the side pick, and the side pick's going to help them a whole lot when it comes to pacing and momentum for the first few rounds of the game, because they did have a little bit of an issue when they were on that attack with Cafe, right? They weren't able to wind up as quickly. They had to take that timeout, and once they hit that timeout, they were in ship shape. But, I mean, it took them a little bit, right? So I do have a concern when it hits their attacking rounds. Okay, how are we going to improve that pacing? How are we going to have our eyes on the prize, get to that objective, make sure that we have the least amount of collateral going into the round, and, you know, we're also making sure that, like, our team chemistry stays the same, our stamina stays the same, our mental isn't going too in the mud here. So, left pocket.
Left pocket,
Love,
here
hate.
we go, clubhouse. Yeah, love, hate.
Yeah,
It's all about love and
love,
hate. I wonder if
All
they're the
about love
biggest
and hate.
hater, though. I wonder if they're the biggest hater.
25 kills on the board, KDR, a 2.78. Great survival rate. I think that's higher than almost all of the players on Reno Skyline. All of the players, I believe, on Reno Skyline?
Yes, even after the last game, that survivability rate is still higher than the majority, if not the entirety, of Reno Skyline. I think there might be only a handful of players that have a better survivability than 55%. So, you know, love and hate. He really does love to kill and hates to die. So, hopefully, he can kind of keep that momentum going. Now, of course, last game played, they went up against to be determined. They won comfortably, 7-5, or semi-comfortably. Team KDR, one of the best in the entire league at a 1.58. Last match that they, or the most match that they played, is in Clubhouse with an 83.3 attacking percentage, defensively 100%. The win percentage, of course, is at 100%. As now we might be looking towards the roster, you know, love and hate, part of the team with Caleb, Flicks, Wisdom, and of course, Pooh. I think it's about as simple as we're gonna get. Got Pooh on my shoe. That's one hell of a tongue twister. I don't think I'm gonna attempt it tonight, but we'll see. Who knows? But this is the team that we've got for left pocket.
I think that's a sub as well. I mean, we don't really have any stats on this person, so I assume that this is a sub. Looking at the survival rates, though, you can definitely tell that left pocket's game that they played. I'm not sure if they played 1 or 2 at this point, if our stats are 100% up to date, but even with the 1 game under their belt, you can tell that the round differential for sure skewed in the way of left pocket, right? You've got the high survival rates, you've got the high kill count. I mean, the KDR is really insane. You've got the KPR, that's pretty high up for these players, right? Love-hate with the 1.25. Flicks with the 1. Caleb with the 0.95. I mean, it's pretty insane across the board for all of these players to have, at the very least, around or above a 1 KPR. On top of that, we are very early in the season. So we do have to keep that in mind as we look at these stats. I'm very interested to see how this team and Reno Skyline stats kind of coast along as we get more games under our belt, as we have more play days that come to us, because I want to see how these teams kind of filter out in the stats of everything. And I just also want to see how these two teams stack up against each other. Now, Left Pocket and Reno Skyline, I believe both of them were in the last season, if I'm correct, right?
For the most part, yes. A lot of the Reno Skyline definitely has been in the season or in the league for 3 seasons now. Love Pocket, I believe it is their first or maybe second time that they're making an appearance. But Map Bands, Bank, Chalet, Lair, Skyscraper off the board. Night Haven and Consulate also off the board. So no repeats as Border and Cafe are off the board. Clubhouse is the map of designation. You kind of touched upon it. A lot of the pacing should be natural for both of these teams, but Reno Skyline, especially after the game that they had against Cafe, a map like Clubhouse, I believe, even though, like you mentioned, it wasn't necessarily their map pick, can still work out for them. It's a lot slower. It's a lot more, routine. It has been played out about as much. It's a lot of things in my life has been played out. So, Jenna, any final touches before we finally get these things started?
I am very interested to see how Reno Skyline adapts because we saw that Cafe was a great map for their adaptation skills, not only on the defense but specifically on the offense for them. Even though they had a few shaky rounds on the offense, I love to see how they switch things up. So I'm very interested to see how they switch things up. Mind you, they're going on defense to begin, so they're already in the driver's seat here, right? They can set the pace. They can have these little adjustments, and they do have, the first pick at these adjustments, essentially, right?
Yeah,
they're going to be ahead of the game.
Yeah.
So
First operator bands coming out, Blackbeard and Mira both off the board. Very typical, very understandable bands, especially the Mira. I think Left Pocket already knows a lot of these Mira setups. Mira, one of the most strongest defensive operators when she is available. Blackbeard, on the other hand, the rework has really revitalized this operator as a whole. And we had touched upon it so much. He bought and Tuber out. Now that, in my opinion, might be one of the most directed operator bands I have seen in a long time.
Well, what's interesting to me is they took off the Tubero, but they didn't take off the Kaid. So you can still Kaid trick at this point, which is definitely what the defense is going to do. It looks like, yeah, they're going to be on bottom floor. They're for sure going to Kaid trick. However, you can't use the Tubero anymore. So it's not as powerful. So I think Left Pocket, in their minds, they said, okay, we have to decide, right? Mira or Kaid, Mira or Kaid. They went with Mira. They knew that Mira was an all-around operator. She has an incredible gun. And her black mirrors, I mean, come on. Those mirrors are pretty insane.
Yeah, no, I definitely do agree. And I think with the fact that Mira has been one of the most staple operator bands in Siege since the introduction of operator bands back in 2019 actually, was around the time the operator bands first came out. So it's understandable that Left Pocket is going to kind of keep that mainstay. They know that, yes, Kai tricking is difficult. Turbo is a strong operator. You can kind of flip-flop which of the two operators you want to remove. You don't necessarily want to focus both and then leave the mirror windows completely open because it makes the both top floor sides almost unbearable to go up against. You could then get creative and, hopefully one of these days I'll see the bar site coming out. But of course, Church is one of the hardest sites to attack as it is. A mirror window looking down your hallway. I would much rather do a lot of other things in life than have to go up against a mirror in Church. But regardless, we're in the first round. Reno Skyline playing downstairs. Left Pocket taking the map control as easy as they like. There is a player playing at top of blue staircase. So the strength and the possibility is there. C4 comes out. Nothing lands. And of course, a little bit of fire from the gas pipeline right there. One of the new added features of Siege X is the destructibility of a lot of these maps. Gas, natural gas, something I work with a lot, is something that becomes a little more explosive. This map and the way that this game plays is a lot more innovative. I'm much of a fan of it. Of course, Left Pocket is going to have to make this map work in their favor rather than Reno Skyline within the first 90 seconds.
Absolutely. I definitely love the pacing of Left Pocket so far. I mean, they do have 1:30 left on the clock, but they do have that blitz on bottom floor. I think they're just waiting for, or I should say first floor, but they're waiting for the pieces to get into place, right? Waiting for all the utility to come in. They're waiting for those Twitch drones to come in, that IQ, right? They're waiting for a little bit more vert to happen, for Twitch to get down on that bottom floor, so everything can get into place, and Left Pocket can set up that execute properly. Reno Skyline's going to be taken advantage of here, right?
Yeah, HK does get the first kill. Ooh, HK does take the first kill onto the round. Down does come onto nice guy Jay. Caleb, though, is taken out by Calico. Calico with a double kill. Saving grace for the fallen man, but HK getting taken out by Wisdom. A 2v4. Still not done for Left Pocket. Now, both players stacked up on double door, and Valkyrie running in and doesn't land anything. Flicks. Taking out Porkins is all down to just two players. Health-wise, though, Left Pocket does have the advantage, but the smoke canister coming out from Jake is definitely the kind of neighbor you want to have in these ending stages of the first round. Changes coming in through Blue Hall is the play of the game, and Bliss is the first man to drop. A lot of attention now being drawn forward to this new change. A zombie taking a lot of flash melee, and once again, and there goes the blitz. Nice guy Jay finishes a flex and a beautiful round. Reno Skyline starting off the way they ended in Cafe.
You can definitely tell the idea that Left Pocket had in mind there, right? They were going to go for a very, very explosive take. They had the blitz on the board waiting at the bottom floor. They had a twitch that was about to come down right behind the blitz. But then Reno Skyline. It's almost like they were expecting that. Like they did their homework in that moment. They were like, okay, we got the Azami on the board, right? We got the Velk on the board. We know what's going on. We've got the map that we're using against this team, right? With those gas pipes. Like every piece of utility that Reno Skyline had, they used to their advantage. Almost, at the very least, right? The economy of utility for Reno Skyline's defense was incredible there. Right? You could tell they're very well practiced on this map, and they were very prepared for the possibility of that blitz coming down on those bottom stairs. Left Pocket, though, they just couldn't be steadfast enough, right? They couldn't play it out.
You know, I definitely do agree, and I think the lack of openings that they gave themselves in. I mean, I understand he bounces off the board, bring in the ace, bring in the pocket hard breach gadgets, open up these hatches, open up these walls, utilizing ace. Utilize more operators than what they really thought. It looked very one-dimensional. This operator lineup, once again, looks a little one-dimensional. And for a team like Reno Skyline, that's their bread and butter. You want to be as one-dimensional, as basic as you get, well, guess what? You got 5 players that are well-trained, well-indoctrinated into the esports of Siege. They know how to play this game, and in a map like Clubhouse, you want to try and be as innovative as possible, which I understand in 2025, 10 years into a game like this. Clubhouse is by one of the most uninnovative maps you can really develop, and that's not really how you want to start. Flicks off the board within the first 40 seconds.
Huge for Reno Skyline to get that early pick for themselves, especially for that entry operator Flicks with the Ash. HK is going to play explosive once again. I mean, wasn't he one of the top players of Reno Skyline last game on that Cafe?
Yeah, 17-5. I believe his headshot ratio was upwards to like 88%. He had He had the best survivability in the entire server. HK is definitely one of the players to watch alongside Porkins. And of course, HK, as I mentioned, he's out for the round again. I really got to stop bringing that caster curse into this game because HK has been playing really well, and this is unfortunate. He's now down to 20 HP with still 90 seconds of the round to go. As Left Pocket taking top of red, getting hit from all sides. Porkins unable to clean up Caleb. Big kill coming out from Montaigne as they equalize the man count. HP-wise, though, also equalizes. Caleb is now also down to roughly 30 HP. And with about 70 seconds left into the round, it's not looking good for Left Pocket. They've got a lot of maps to still take. They're not necessarily set up for any sort of plant. Cross angles and cross fires are not available. And for Reno Skyline, they've just got to play it safe. They've got to wait. They've got to hold their horses. And at the right moment, a player like Calico can definitely pounce. I believe there's also a player downstairs. Yep, that's Nice Guy Jake waiting for that sound cue to get that C4 up and going.
Tell Reno Skyline's in place to stomp out any portion of this execute from any spot on the map. Calico taking the headshot off of Caleb. That's your Monty player down. That's already a 2v3. Wisdom's gonna pick off 2. That's a headshot and another kill on HK. Huge to get that office side control. Slasher picking up 1 though. That only remains with Thatcher on the board. And only about 20 seconds left.
It's another sloppy round coming out from Left Pocket in terms of their attacking prowess. A team that, statistically speaking, they have one of the best attacking phases in the entirety of the league. But Reno Skyline just they've got a fortress going in that top floor. Nice Guy Jake cleaning up the round, but once again, Left Pocket one-dimensional. They're not bringing anything to try and complicate Reno Skyline's defensive holds, and they're on cruise control right now. Reno Skyline's on cruise control. And with the game that they just had in Cafe, you expect some sort of step down there. You expect some slips. You're expecting some sort of fatigue to kick in. Not for this team.
plenty of unforced errors on left pocket's end, right? Especially coming in with that Monty, there was not a soul behind that Monty as he went from
Attackers need
Khan
locate and
to
defuse as
Logi.
many bombs as they can.
I mean, I also have to say that Reno Skyline, right? They have a blind spot. Their blind spot, which you actually did touch on a little bit in Cafe, is that they cannot pace well on the defense, right? I'm not even going to say pace well. I do think that they can pace well. I'm going to say they have a blind spot with pacing, right? Sometimes they pace well, sometimes they don't pace well, sometimes they get a little bit overly aggressive and they leave their backs open, right? They have that blind spot. If left pocket can exploit that, if they can take advantage of Reno Skyline getting overly aggressive instead of taking advantage of their aggression, I think in those situations, left pocket, easy win for them, right? If HK was killed that last round on that first entry by Flicks, we would have seen a very different round. I can tell you that with 100% certainty.
No, I definitely do agree. And I think it comes down to the angst that Reno Skyline can feel at times. When the round is going a little too fast, or maybe when the round is going high pace and is full on throttle, Reno Skyline at times will get overzealous. They will get overconfident if the kills start coming in their favor. And it instantly, the tie could go from 5-3 in their favor to then 3-2 in the opposing team's favor. So, the way the Reno Skyline's been able to kind of slow things down, they're patient. They grew into this sort of patience last game. After throwing that 4-2 lead, they became patient. They were able to kind of bite their tongue or hold their trigger, wait for the right moment to pounce, and ultimately it was able to lead them to victory. They're emulating that success. They're making sure that left pocket plays a slower game. They're forcing left pocket to try and make sure, okay, we want this side of the map. We've got to work for said side of the map. Bandit trick is coming out. Thatcher double tapping. Breach does finally come off from the ace. 90 seconds into the round, all 10 players are alive, but Caleb eating up a lot of damage. Calico as well, but still not in sort of anyone's hand. If you had to say it, it still is in Reno since the site is still firmly in their control.
Yeah, I mean, not too much garage presence so far from left pocket, which is a little bit concerning at this point. About 1:15 left on the clock. I mean,
Ooh.
They got that main CC wall open, but at what cost, right? I mean, you have Caleb that's down at this point. You've wasted so much time. I mean, not a lot going for the way of Ace. Ace has already been killed at this point, right? So, I mean, I think they just wasted way too much time on one side, and that was their undoing, right? Wisdom's going to pick up one. That's HK off the board. That's your castle player with the UMP, the man with the most, and another fight going on in CC.
Yeah, Bandit almost getting his head cleaned off, but unfortunately, the Thatcher unable to try and get that trigger off and go. And Porkins waiting for the moment. He could be a vital player as Jake gets taken out. Flicks unknowingly gets one, gets double. Calico off the board. It's all down to Porkins. Can he get the possible clutch? A 1v3 situation. He's definitely done it before. Finds one on site. Can he take out the player in server? Pulls out the pistol. Unable to do it. Flicks coming in. And Flicks, I don't know where in this round, gets a triple to seal off the first round win from left pocket.
And this was that overambition that we were talking about from Reno Skyline. I mean, it looked like it was going to be Reno Skyline's round win. And left pocket, they had a very hasty take, admittedly hasty, and yet it still worked in their favor. Because why? Because Reno Skyline was so split up. They were so individual in the way that they played that honestly it was easy for the players of left pocket to pick off all of the players of Reno Skyline because all of left pocket was playing from one spot. They were playing very one-dimensional. And sometimes playing linear does play to your advantage. On a team like this, where all of the players are just going for ones, they're being overly ambitious, they're ego checking, like, that's what's going to happen, right? And they were able to get a little cheeky win for themselves.
Yeah, no, I definitely do agree. They were able to successfully break down that Reno Skyline defense, and it got a little dicey. But right as we were pointing out, that left pocket is spending a lot of time, a lot of resources on one end of the map. They got quick succession kills. They were able to keep it close, and then eventually build momentum themselves. You know, they were getting the refracts, they were getting vital kills and vital points of the Reno Skyline's defensive hold. That by the time that the dust settled, Reno were somewhat scrambling to try and salvage the round. So phenomenal response coming out from the left pocket. We're going into the 4th round. The new set of bands kind of came through. Kaid, Turabal, Mira, all off the board officially. Montaigne, Ebon, and Blackbeard in the attacking side. Very reasonable bands coming through. You know, bands that after the first 3 rounds, both teams kind of looked at it and say, okay, we kind of need to slow things down. And that Kaid tricking that you had mentioned, officially off the board. Montaigne, though, a nuisance, I think, for Reno Skyline. They're taking care of it through that band as well.
Yeah, I think that was left pocket's master plan to begin with, right? Is, okay, we're going to deal with the Tuberel first, and then we're going to deal with the Kaid. Which, interesting, admittedly. I feel like you would want to flip-flop that, but at the end of the day, both operators are off the board, and I'm excited to see what damage a left pocket can do now that they are off the board. Because now you've got 2 operators with hard breach charges. You got the Zoe on the board, you got the Grim on the board, and you've got the Ace on the board, and the Mav on the board. So you've got 4 players that have the ability to hard breach at this point. So there should be no excuse for left pocket to get those hatches, to get those walls that they need, and be able to get into the site.
Yeah, no, I definitely do agree with you on that. Wisdom, though, he didn't put some damage. Impact grenade coming out from Splasher. Now, like you also had pointed out, the Maverick trying to see if they can creep in through a late possible flank through dirt to help and aid this Ace on this Impact tricking that the zombie is doing. But with less than 90 seconds to go, Clash, Porkins, trying to be a bit of a nuisance, knows that there's a player on main stairs, knows that there's verticality being done right in this crosshairs. He's going to have to drop back, and there's a good call coming out from the Reno Skyline defensive player. HK, though, getting the first kill onto the round. Love Hate off the board. Can the Maverick get one? No, HK getting another kill. Stealing in the head of the Maverick, and it's all down to 3 players. They're going to have to funnel straight through one staircase, and once again, left pocket are putting themselves in a position that they did not want to be in. A one-dimensional entry point that for Reno Skyline is the perfect recipe for success. Hatch, though, blues on the blue hall being opened up, and well, we were looking at a motorcycle now. Unfortunately, though, not going to be enough times for left pocket's remaining players to try and push their way through. Wisdom, though, gets one. Porkins off the board, so the possibility is still there. Clash, that's a big kill as well. Caleb knows that any sort of noise coming out from the barricades is going to give him up, and that's exactly what's going to happen. He barricades it open, gets down. Slasher with the big vital position that he's hosting for his team. HK gets another one. It's all down to Calical to clean up Jest. Another swift round coming out from Reno Skyline.
Incredible round for Reno Skyline. Masterclass in organization. They had the chemistry there. They had the intel. They knew where left pocket was coming in from, and they adjusted accordingly. I have to give it to them there. You knew exactly where all of those players were coming from. You had the immediate crosses. Even the ones were well won for Reno Skyline. I mean, left pocket, it looked like left pocket had no chance there, which is surprising considering that they did have so many ways into the objective, and yet they still opted for that very linear, one-dimensional take that we have been seeing from them this entire game. It's almost like they had too many options, and then they just opted for the options that they thought were easiest. But in reality, they kind of were the hardest options, because you did have 2 players that were impact tricking on the bottom floor in Arsenal. So the Ace kept on trying to absolutely no avail, wasted way too much time for left pocket, and then they kind of just had to funnel in through doorways.
Yeah, I definitely do agree. I think a lot of it comes down from the deep armory presence and setup that Reno Skyline was able to do. There's no pressure coming in from Blue Hall. There's no sort of, oh, let's open up the hatch and bar. They're limiting them. They try being multi-dimensional without being multi-dimensional. A whole lot of nothing. They did a lot for nothing.
A whole lot of nothing.
A whole lot of nothing. And, it's it's starting to show. It's starting to take into effect. I mean, the scoreline speaks for itself. Now, of course, Clubhouse is notoriously a slightly more defensive map. With the changes of the map, with the additions of the attacking operators, it has closed the gap significantly. It wasn't as, cut and dry as it used to be, but a 4-2 scoreline in Clubhouse is about as expected as it gets. But with the way that left pocket been attacking, we could potentially be looking at a 5-1. It really does come down to what Reno Skyline does in this round. They win this round, they're going to go to the third side. They're going to go to season TV. It's going to come down to, can left pocket re-emulate the success they had a couple rounds back. But for Reno Skyline, he's going to keep doing what they're doing.
I like the Floras on the board. Floras on the board is great for Reno Skyline, or sorry, I should say for left pocket, to be proactive about getting those walls open, not to waste so much time for themselves. They've already got the jacuzzi wall open with about 140 left on the clock. You've got the thermite up on the board, you've got the ace up on the board, they're doing all the right things. All they have to do, which I was just about to say, is get that doke in there, start making the calls, figure out where those ops are, and take care of them. Love Hate's gonna have the first pick of the round. That's 4 kids off the board for you.
Yeah, Calico does just get down by offer, and he's also off the board. Flashbang is coming, reigning Supreme Jim. HK though does get Jazz, so that's another big kill. 60 seconds left. Flashbangs are coming through, and that might have just saved the defensive operator. As Jake as well as HK are both coming together. HK with a beautiful kill, but 2 quick kills in succession coming out from left pocket. Jake, now by himself, knows where the ping. Oh my God! The SMG 11 reigns supreme. It's all down to Caleb and Jake. Jake is one of the players you want to have. Plants going down by the thermite. They coming through. The pings are also flying thick and fast for the remaining Skyline player. Plants coming out from master bedroom onto the mattress. Jake knows this. The stoppings is there. Caleb off the mark again. Done up. Can he do it? No!
Operators, you are out of time.
An instant trade, but a detrimental trade coming out from left pocket as Reno Skyline steals around once again. 4-1, and oh.
No! Thermite, you lost your composure. You could have planted. Thermite had the time to plant. Why did you play up, especially against the SMG and the shotgun? No. Oh my gosh. Hindsight is 2020. Hindsight is definitely 2020. I do have to hand it to left pocket though. They had a much cleaner round than they have had before, even though it did come down to a clutch situation. Reno Skyline though, I mean, their flexibility, just off the charts. Nice guy Jake. What a way to end the round.
I mean, I've seen that firsthand. I played alongside Jake a couple years ago, and he's only improved since. And that round is the epitome of just the composure this young man has developed over the years. 1v3 situation, or effectively a 1v4, because he got the kill almost simultaneously as his companion went down. He took his ones and took them beautifully. I mean, the shot that he had across the 90 side of top main, through the zombie barricade in gym, out and got a beautiful headshot out the gym window. At that moment, I just had a feeling that Nice Guy Jake was going to be able to clutch it out. Caleb just got baited. He just needed, like you mentioned, he needed that composure. He needed to just stick that plan. If he stuck the plan, I think that round would have gone in left pocket's favor. But instead, beautifully played coming off of Reno Skyline. And Caleb getting his get back. Calico off the board. The bandit tricking fails this round. And within 40 seconds, Reno's got control of that balcony. But HK answers right back onto the kill onto Flex.
Calico off the board isn't the worst sort of loss for Reno Skyline to take.
Ooh.
I mean, it's almost expected at that point. HK, though, picking up another kill on Wisdom off the cuff of the run out, by the way. That's your map player. That's a huge kill. And it's another trade. HK said, if I'm going to take down another one, they're coming with me. If I'm getting killed, they're coming with me. Oh, huge so far for HK on the board. Again, just having a crazy night.
Yeah, no, and Caleb going off the board as well. Porkins cleaning it up. It's all down to love and hate. the big man himself, the man that the man of the hour for left pocket is all, well, by himself in his own little pocket. Hip fire though coming out from Slasher, soft ping coming through, and he knows exactly where he's at. The jump down comes out. Love and hate gets one. 2v1 situation. He's got a lot of time. A minute 20 left into the round. He knows that one is playing downstairs, so he knows if he can take this ISO gunfight, a one-on-one on site, he can definitely make things happen. But the fallback is coming through. They know that the diffuser is cold. They know that they've got to pretty much play the time game. And with the goo mines available, the Valkyrie cams bringing up the pings, I mean, you gotta hate it for Love. He's all by himself. He's got no chance. He's gonna drop down. He knows that the players are there, but the players are plentiful. They got the cross angle. They've got the appropriate utility needed to deny any sort of clutch factor coming out from this ace. Pings coming through. He knows that they're there. He's just waiting for the moment. Is he going to be able to grab the diffuser? Yes, he does. He's running away. Wait a minute. Reno Skyline might have just thrown this round away. But the soft pings is still available. Porkins also has a C4 in hand. They know where he's planning. Ping comes out. C4 flies. Doesn't land. That's detrimental. 50 seconds left. The plan's going to be coming through. Ace might have just stolen the round from the hands of Reno Skyline. And Reno Skyline now have got to retake the site. They know where one is at. They know that both are coming from the same way. Love gets one. Pork gets the other. Oh,
Huge
no.
clutch from Porkins coming in from the side. What a way to end the round. I mean, I was rooting for Ace towards the end there. I was like, this underdog is gonna win. This is a clutch situation. This is a 2v1. The Ace has got it. Poor Love, man. If the timing was just perfect for Love, if it wasn't essentially a 2-on-1, I think we would have seen, again, a different round. But left pocket, throughout that entire round, they left themselves open. They had a lot of openings in their attack. In Reno Skyline, they were able to take advantage of it. Because mind you, Reno Skyline, they're on their second game, right? At this point, they're 4-1. They're confident. Okay, they're doing runouts. They're doing crazy stuff. They're trying to get those kill feeds. They're doing those ego checks, and they're winning because of it. It is catching left pocket entirely off guard. And they got another round win from it, essentially. Right? Left pocket has to have their eye on the ball a little bit better. They can't have those unforced errors that they've been consistently having. They're going to be on their defense rounds, though. I'm interested to see how this is going to work out. We've got 2 new bands on the board. Actually, 4 new bands on the board.
Yeah.
Got Kaid, Bandit, Blackbeard, and, yeah, double shield. Double shield and double hard breach denial.
Attackers need to locate.
Which is completely it's understandable. I mean, Reno Skyline, they know the game. They know that they just need 2 rounds. So they made it about as easy as it gets. Now, you got Turbo, you got Mute. You've got deniability in the hands of left pocket, but I mean, you're looking for scraps at this point. You're looking for scraps at this point with the denial possibility, with a round count. You're hoping that Reno Skyline gets complacent. I mean, and with the way they're talking in tech shot, I mean, yeah, complacency could be the name of the game for left pocket. They've got to pretty much put everything onto the table. They've got to get aggressive. They've got to get innovative. They got to bring in these SSG roams. They've got to bring whatever they can to bring themselves back. But for Reno Skyline, it's just, hey, handle your business. Let's wrap things up so we can all enjoy our dinners and whatnot. If you're a lover for Siege, you're kind of hoping for a little more of a longer game.
Wrap it up. Wrap it up. I like this lineup for Reno Skyline so far. It's quite the balanced lineup, if you think about it, right? You've got great utility going on for Reno Skyline. They've got 2 operators that can spot out where the defense is, meaning the Grim and the Doke. The Grim effectively can be used as a flank watch. You've also got Grim with the hard reach charges should the Hibana die. And you've got the Ram to play for Vert. So it's going to cut a lot of corners for Reno Skyline that need to be cut. They're not going to be wasting as much time. And their economy for the utility should be, well, should we see the same performance that we have been consistently seeing from them time and time again throughout not only this game, but also Cafe.
Yeah, no, I definitely do agree. And because, like I mentioned, the Ram is cutting out so much time. The entire long haul is already done. Impacts are flying through, so there goes the 2 impacts that the defenders had. Now, of course, Vigil is also available if he's able to make it to the kitchen hatch, but unfortunately, that kitchen hatch is completely open. Slasher forcing Vigil back onto site, so all 5 players, for the most part, are effectively on point and ready to pretty much hold their ground. This is their Stalingrad, sort of say, the coup de grace for Reno Skyline for left pocket. Well, they've got to hunker it down like the Soviet Union during the winter. They've got to pretty much fight for their lives, and HK taking 1 life already. With less than 90 seconds to go, Reno Skyline's got the man advantage. Ram throws reigning supreme, and the entire kitchen side is completely open. Cutaway, though, coming out from Blue Staircase as the gas cannon, the gas pipe is going to be bursting here shortly. Moto hatch swing is going to be coming, reigning supreme. Hopefully they can land something. Nothing hits just yet. The 50-second mark is starting to hit, and left pocket starting to feel the pressure of Reno Skyline's execution. Love and hate though gets 1. HK off the board. Pistol comes out. Wisdom gets another one. Felix gets another one. And oh my God! Left pocket from left field, taking out everything they have in their stops, leaving it all down to Calico. By himself gets 1. Flicks off the board. Brings up the SMG 12. Doesn't matter. 11-8. Became the biggest hater. Takes the head off. And it's 1 round less that they're down.
Read like a book, left pocket. Left pocket knew exactly where Reno Skyline was coming from, and they wasted just enough time for Reno Skyline to be forced into those unfavorable positions for themselves, right? You had that impact trick. You had pretty great utility economy as well from left pocket too on their defense. You could tell their defense is a lot more well-rounded than their attack on Clubhouse here, which is something that is for sure going to help them in these next few rounds.
Locate and defuse
We
many
might be
bombs.
seeing a comeback being mounted up, perhaps, Alien? If I were to be optimistic.
I mean, optimism is the new order of the game, man. You gotta be optimistic sometimes especially when it comes to life. When life gives you lemons, you gotta make some lemonade. And right now, left pocket is doing everything they can to get every ounce, every drop of that lemonade juice or the lemon juice to make lemonade. Still a lot of rounds to go before they can even equalize the round kind of Reno Skyline. I mean, Reno Skyline, they win this one. They're on match point. Left pocket needs to develop some sort of momentum, and being on the defensive side, momentum is definitely buildable. Reno Skyline, they just gotta not be as complacent as they were. I think that really came down to in the last round. It was a matter of complacency. They thought they had it easy. They did everything they needed to do. They just weren't fully prepared for an execution, so they just spent themselves one at a time. It gave left pocket all the chances in the world, and has put them in a position that confidence could be brewing.
Setting up a sequential breach.
Mira up on the board with left pocket. I like this so far. Reno Skyline didn't take Mira off the board for left pocket.
No.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, does it make things difficult? Yeah. Is it world breaking? Not necessarily. I think Reno Skyline, the attacker's side of Siege, there's enough utility, enough gadgets in the world to be able to take care of Amir. I mean, you bring a Buck, you bring an Ash, you bring a Zafir, you go below, and you just play the vertical. And you can force any mirror window obsolete. I mean, Reno Skyline, they have done a phenomenal job.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I do think it's still interesting to see which team's priorities are aligned. Right? Reno Skyline, they opted for the Kaid, the Bandit, to go off the board, whereas left pocket, they opted for the Mira and the Tubero. Totally different operators, by the way. We'll get into that a little bit later, though. We got Reno Skyline up on the back line of left pocket. They're already sitting in cash here, playing through to Khan, with about 1 minute left on the board, which is to say that is more time than left pocket had when they were executing themselves. So they've definitely gotten them into a more favorable position walking in to the latter half of this one.
Changing back.
We also got the Candela charges up on the board too. For the side of Reno Skyline, sitting up on that hatch, they're waiting to play in the execute. I'm loving this so far. Candelas are going to start going off. Smokes are going out. Porkin's going to pick up one from that hatch side. That's wisdom going off the board for you. And another kill from Porkins. And now the execute is in full swing for Reno Skyline. Already a 5v1 with the last remaining kill being a flawless for the side of Reno. What an incredible round for them. I mean, that ying really just changed the game.
I mean, in those last 40 seconds, left pocket became about as mute as my mic. They grew silent. They tried to react, and when they realized that it was too late to react, Reno Skyline took over. They took over, and it became a flawless transition of prep to execution. There was no sort of 3, 2, 1, go. It was just a matter of throw a Candela in.
Attackers need to locate
and
and
go.
defuse as many bombs
That
as they can.
Head
was
up,
the
eyes
count.
forward. Head up, eyes forward. We play with the chaos. We play with the chaos. I like that Reno Skyline, they had such an organized attack when it came to Cafe, but on Clubhouse, they're definitely leaning into the chaos a little bit more. And I mean, I think that's also in part because they had two completely different sides to start on, right? Reno started on attack with Cafe, and on that they're starting on defense. But I also think it does come down to Reno Skyline's ability to be multifaceted in their approaches to attack and defense.
I definitely do agree, and I think, at this point, Reno Skyline would have to just absolutely throw it. They would have to pull off a 2016-2017 Atlanta Falcons Super Bowl throw. The left pocket.
I like how you have that ingrained in your mind. You're such a football fan.
I'm a football. I'm a Falcons fan. I'm a Cowboys fan. So
I can see that. It
being
sounds
able
like
to.
you're also a soccer fan. I saw your shirt.
I am. Yeah. This shirt has a lot of history, and unfortunately, we don't. I mean, do we have a time to talk about that history? Maybe, but the action is finally arriving. Reachers are coming through, and an instant kill. 2 kills coming off the board. Jester getting Calico. Porkins getting a refight though onto Caleb. A 1-for-1, not necessarily that. Reno using a lot of utility capital off the board. They know that there's a player at bottom garage, and there's also a player at rafters. So HK is going to have to play this comfortably. They know that the Azami is going to be peeking them if they go for the bottom garage player. So he's going to have to wait for the moment. Gets a lot of damage onto Love, and hey, Doc, though, juicing himself back up. And the support is going to be coming in through Thermite. As Love gets to HK, knows that he's going to get flushed out by the Thermite charge, runs back, leaving Azami by themselves. Systems, though, coming in from bottom garage. 90 seconds to go, and Reno Skyline, they're down a man, and they're looking a little complacent. Left pocket getting into the groove of things. This might get closer and closer. Jenna, 6-3 in the horizon? Question mark?
Question mark indeed. I mean, Reno Skyline, they're still trying to pick up the round as best as they possibly can, right? They're mobilizing on that garage side. It looks like they're going to try the execute from there. Slasher picks up a kill off of Wisdom, but you still have that Doc that's gallivanting love-hate all the way around. That's being a thorn in the side of Reno Skyline. And he's not letting up anytime soon, right? The Doc is going to have to be dealt with before we see an execute happen from them. But in the meantime, we've got Buck from below to open up some vert, put a little bit of pressure for the players on the site of left pocket. We also got Monty coming in from the B site. Gonna start that plant off with Thermite holding the cross, and we've got Porkins from below as well. Great coverage for the side of Reno Skyline. Porkins gonna pick up one and Nice Guy Jake at the same time. That leaves Love Hate, the Doc with the most to come from the side. He's gonna try to pick off the Monty, but won't indeed. Diffuser is down at this point. You don't have a lot of options if you're Love Hate, and Slasher to pick up the kill for the Doc. And that leaves left pocket with the loss on the game. Huge 7-2 for Reno Skyline.
A lot of expectations was left onto the hands and left in pocket, but much like the Kansas City Chiefs, they were unable to fulfill said expectations. Reno Skyline putting an absolute Philadelphia Eagle, showcasing a 7-2 dominant victory over against left pocket here in Clubhouse, and effectively concludes the doubleheader that they personally had here tonight. Jenna, I've got to say, I mean, Reno Skyline, they looked unfazed. They looked like they utilized match one up against Generation ESS as a warm up to then absolutely have. They didn't even get out of second gear against left pocket. As soon as they got that round advantage, they never let go of it.
And I like how they didn't give up too many attack rounds either to left pocket, which, I mean, they were already warmed up off of that cafe win.
Mm-hmm.
You can see my cat's tail again. She's getting a little feisty right now. But with that being said, I mean, what an incredible game. 2 games, honestly, for Reno Skyline. And didn't we have a doubleheader yesterday as well that kind of went the opposite way?
Yeah. Team Notorious had 2 games. Reno Skyline had 2 games. Team Notorious, I believe, split the Cummings 1-1. Reno Skyline confident, justifiably, 2-0. They go up to the record of 4-0, 7-2. What's the final score? Like mentioned, and like just witnessed here in Clubhouse, HK. I mean, you can't hate the guy. 1.61 rating, 13-7, 4 kills on the entry, 88 cost. But one thing I do want to point out is Porkins' headshot ratio went up by 20%. So we're looking in the up. On the other hand, though, for left pocket, I mean, the best thing they can say is that Wisdom did end in even at 7-7. But I mean, that cost. You're looking at Flix being the player to watch and the player with the highest cost. I mean, left pocket looked like they weren't in the game. They're having a bad night, bad game. Who knows? Ultimately, though, it doesn't really matter, as Reno Skyline, they just everything on this board in this matchup alone screams that they are a team on a mission. And as aforementioned, even before the season started, they're here to win. They've attempted 3. This is their 3rd attempt now, and they're here to win. It's, a couple of players have said it. They said it to me. They said it to Kylo. They are here to win, and tonight, being their doubleheader was an absolute statement, with the fact that they would be 2 teams that were undefeated before they met them.
I'm excited to watch Reno Skyline's narrative as they continue along in this league. And I'm also excited to watch Left Pocket's narrative too, as they continue to improve in this league as well. I don't think they're a particularly bad team. I will say that. I do think that they had a bad night, and I also do think that a lot of the way that they played was one-dimensional in nature, right? Which can be the case for a map like Clubhouse. It is excruciatingly hard to find an opening in the back line of a Clubhouse defense because it is such a small map. But Left Pocket, they did make themselves a lot of options that they just didn't use in the right way in the right time. I think they were a little bit too disorganized, and they kind of were playing off of these sort of like default strats, default sort of takes, and they didn't have any real creativity with it, which is what you have to bring to Clubhouse, because all the teams that already play Clubhouse, they know it well, and they know the foundation, they know the basics, and you're just not going to get anything out of playing what you already know.
Yeah, no, I definitely do agree, and I think Reno Skyline really did everything they needed to do. They take all the T's, any sort of question marks that was left at the end of season 2. It seems like this past off season, they have answered a lot of them, and is shown, whether it's through Proving Grounds, whether it's through OCS, whatever tournament they are participating in, they're continuously growing, and they have come here into AEL a new team. Same roster for the most part, Porkins and Nice Guy Jake being, the foundation effectively of this team. HK has been an absolute addition, a game-changing addition. That's their guy. That's the crown jewel, La Jolla, as we like to call it in soccer. HK is definitely going to be the deciding factor on whether or not Reno Skyline makes the deep run that they're desiring. But for left pocket, I mean, you mentioned they've got a lot to learn. They got to reconnect, regroup. Everything they have for clubhouse, go ahead, throw it to the trash, light it on fire, say this is worthless, and really double down and figure out what exactly went wrong tonight.
Absolutely. Well, I think if you don't have anything else to say, Alien, I think that's
That's
gonna
all
be
there
it
is
for
to it.
us at this point.
Yeah.
We don't have another match tonight, right?
Nope. That is all.
Nope.
Reno Skyline clean 2-0 sweep, 7-4 in cafe, 7-2 in clubhouse. For left pocket and for Generation ESS, they've got a lot to learn, but it's not over just yet. Fortunately, though, for here tonight at AEL, it is over. Jenna, thank you for coming, even though you're sick. Shout out to Unnamed Gamer. Shout out to Kylo, who had to run double duty in match one. And thank you guys to the fans for tuning in. Hope we catch you guys tomorrow. We got another fun day planned for you guys here in AL Season 3. And as always, sorry, Kylo, fuck the Cowboys. You guys have a good night. Love you guys. We'll catch you guys next time.